What this does is array the average per diem, the average reimbursement to facilities. So each dot on this page is a facility. So each facility and their average reimbursement per day for the Medicaid clients in their nursing home over the course of a year. I'm taking the average, and so that goes from around I guess the lowest is in the 120s up to around $190 per day. Then those facilities are grouped into that facility's CMS star rating, 5-star quality rating. This is the only quality metric we really have to group nursing homes right now. What it shows is that at least with this measure of performance for the facility as a whole, there is no correlation between the amount that we pay per individual and quality. One caveat on this is that I don't believe we risk adjusted or case mix adjusted. So this is a crude measure in two ways. One, we may not have probably don't have the right quality metric. Number two, we don't adjust the per diem rates for the level of need or the intensity of service provided to each individual resident. So I want to make it clear, we're not showing this to you because we believe this is actually the quality rating of each nursing facility, or that indeed this is the single most appropriate measure of the relationship between what we pay and the quality of the services provided. It is simply all we have at this point, what we have. But what we have doesn't show any relationship at all between what we know about quality and what we are using here as the average cost. So one of the discussion points we know we want to actually stop here and ask and maybe pose questions about the first two slides at this point is, and I think I posed this question at the previous forum as well, where might we look? What might we develop in the future as a quality metric apart from this rating system? In my understanding, this rating system, it's a rating system for a nursing home as a whole. It's not individual specific. So we don't have a person-specific star rating that adds up to the facility's rating. We don't have a Medicaid-specific quality rating. This is a facility-based rating. So thoughts about that? I do think I clearly wanted to pause here. I know, having talked with the industry about this in the past, probably not the best measure of quality. We do need to have a conversation about where we'll go and what we do want to measure. So I just wanted to pause, and in a second I'll ask if our remote sites have any questions about this or comments. So the question from the audience here in Little Rock was that the nursing homes was back to the department. How does the department define quality? And given our definition of quality, then it would be easier to come up with ways to measure that. Let me clarify that I'm actually posing that first question, which is, what should the department's or what should the state's definition of quality be? So maybe I've gone too far, too quickly towards the specific measure. What is the suggestion for long-term care? And I know that we won't answer this question today, but I do want to provoke it because we'll have to make some progress here relatively soon in identifying that definition of quality, and then secondly, how we would measure it. So suggestions or comments from this audience or from the remote sites on how you think we might define quality? over here. I'll wait for you to get the mic so that our remote sites can hear.
I'm Dr. Claudia Beverly, and I probably don't have enough information to talk about this, but we have two experts in the state who are working at the national level on quality outcomes and measures, Dr. Cornelia Beck and Carol Compass, and it seems like we ought to explore what the work they're doing, and especially what's being driven nationally that will be long-term care specific.
Okay, thank you. Any other referrals or specific suggestions on where we ought to go with this quality conversation? If you could wait just 1 second, I know our sites won't be able to hear.
I would like to point out with the 5-star rating, there's a limited number of 5 stars, 4 stars. It is not an open-ended measuring scale that you're using.
So I think the point is that is it competitive? So not everyone, you're guaranteed to have some 1s and 2s and 3s, even if the overall or uniform level of quality is higher than some target threshold.
Exactly. And with that being said, it being a competitive scale, it doesn't measure quality.
So that's a very good point, and I would draw the comparison to our evaluation, the similar process we go through with medical episodes, pregnancy, common cold, what have you. We have adopted the principle of really absolute performance, and we only use relative performance when we're trying to accommodate the current state of affairs and to determine what's realistic as where are we to start with, where might we go. So we do look at relative performance, but it's mainly for that practical implication of what's achievable. What we choose to incentivize is not relative for precisely that reason, because we would be happy if everyone was successful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Donna Childress, the one on the 5-star too, it's the heavy on the use of RNs in nursing homes, and in the state we know that we have a shortage of RNs, so we shouldn't be penalized because we use LPNs in nursing homes because they're just not available to work. We've been working with UAMS. We even fund a professor at the School of Nursing to help increase the number of RNs in the state. They're not there, and that's the number one measure that is used for 5-star is the number of RNs in a building.
That's
so
good.
We shouldn't be penalized for not being able to hire people that don't exist.
That's a good feedback, and I guess I would add to that my own comment. Not being an expert in the star rating system, it sounds like it is process driven rather than nurses aren't the output here unless you're UAMS or another nursing school. Okay. Yes, another couple of comments, and then I want to pause and make sure that the remote sites have a chance, and then we'll move on.
Hi, my name is Holly Felix. I'm here at UAMS in the College of Public Health, and I believe you can, if you go onto the CMS Nursing Home Compare site, you can drill down to the subdomains of the 5-star rating and pull out some of the more maybe egregious indicators like RNs, and look at some of the more specific quality measures like health deficiencies, which I would consider to be a pretty good indicator of poor quality if you have health deficiencies. There's also the CMS had created the quality measures that are on prevalence of pressure ulcers and things like that, and there's been national benchmarks set on that, so you could also judge facilities based on being above or below those benchmarks.
Very helpful. In fact, that may be something we want to try to do with the next round of analysis
that's a very good point. But the problem is, I think before you consider the 5-star rating and before you use this, you need to establish the baseline, and the baseline needs to go back to the point where this reimbursement system was put in place and this process started to occur, and use those baselines as the guide to improve quality. Because if you look at if you go back and delve down into the quality measures and look at the quality measures, then you're going to see a different position today than they were when we established this reimbursement program and before the 5-star rating came out. So I think we have to have a baseline before we can even begin to argue low cost, high quality, or high cost, low quality. I mean, I think the baseline has to be there, and I hadn't seen it yet.